Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Team Street Fight. It's fun to be back here. I haven't been to an event, a Street Fight event, in a couple of years, but some things never change, and certainly the effect of local people following around local people and keeping this industry somewhat of a small community is always fun. Who wants to talk about gas this morning? Yeah, that's what we're talking about, gas and convenience. Not exactly what you probably thought that you'd be hearing about at 9 o'clock in the morning, but I'm going to tell you a few things that you might know, some things you might suspect, and I hope a few things that you don't know about this crazy little industry in the gas and convenience world. But first, the obligatory blurb on GasBuddy. Anybody heard of GasBuddy, please? Yes? Great. Most people have heard of GasBuddy. A few strange facts on GasBuddy. This company is 17 years old now. I joined the company a year and a half ago. It's got an amazing community of consumers. We have over 70 million downloads. It's one of the original crowdsourced data platforms. Every day, 3 million consumers rate and review C-store or gas station and spot a gas price. Again, 3 million submissions on a daily basis. I think that still makes us one of the largest crowdsourced data platforms, certainly outpacing folks like Yelp and TripAdvisor and others that you might know of. In fact, in the travel category, we ranked number 3 in the most utilized application in the category, which again is a strange fact that you may not know. Our business is comprised of 2 and soon 3 different units. The first one is the consumer business that we monetize in all the usual ways: sponsorship, advertising, monetizing that consumer engagement. The second is we take all of that consumer data and more, working with partners like Cubic, who'll be up here later today, and we put that into a business intelligence platform. And we sell that into the convenience and gas sector. So those retailers, we help inform them about their existing business and how they can acquire new customers, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. We allow them to respond to those consumer reviews, reward their loyal customers, promote their loyalty programs. We're about 120 people. I moved the headquarters to Boston. The company was originally founded in Canada, up in Saskatchewan, a place called Regina, Canada. I'm not kidding. Not Regina, Regina. This is a place. It is not nearby. It does take quite a while to get there. So thanks for listening to the obligatory GasBuddy blurb. I'm going to move on into the industry. See if I can. Do these work? Is it on now? Great. Let me take this off. So what's old is new. And what I mean by that is this on-demand industry is actually very, very old. A colleague of mine is here, Mark Coffey. He originally hails from Ireland, and even when he was a child, he said that everything was delivered to his house, including caramelized apples in the afternoon. The idea that a consumer needs to travel great distances to purchase and acquire things which they need on a daily basis is not new. What is new is how this is transformed. A couple little blurbs, again, on the convenience industry, which you might find noteworthy, which I certainly did, having no idea about what happens in this industry until a year and a half ago. I've met a number of wonderful families that actually still own and operate their stores and gas stations. Companies like Cumberland Farms and Wawa and Sheetz and Rutter's. These companies largely started out as dairy farmers. They had a farm, they had cows, they made milk, cheese. They started a store on a corner. People would walk by that store, and they would buy their milk. That turned into a convenience store. Started selling other things, maybe eggs, maybe bologna, maybe some Spam, other stuff like that. And then when the automobile market started to take off, they started selling fuel. And this became the community center, and it still is. I'm sure if you think hard about it, whenever there's a hurricane or a blizzard or a tornado or something like that, your grocery store isn't open, but your convenience store is. And that's where the community goes. In a market, You know, to put it in perspective, because we're all technology geeks, this market is at any given time at a minimum 60% larger than the total e-commerce market in North America. 60% larger than the total e-commerce market. It's big, and it's not shrinking. What else is happening in the market, which is interesting, is that it's subject to the same consumer expectations. And that's because the millennials, and many of whom are here, people always like to think of, I like to think of millennials as these young little chickens and stuff like that, but I'm getting older now. Millennials are actually having babies and buying houses and all that kind of stuff. But millennials are the ones, of course, that have higher expectations around what that experience should be. And they talk about it a lot. I don't need to talk to anybody here about that. But they're not just talking about it, they're using it. On any given week, an average American consumer visits a convenience store 1.5 times per week. And it's not just to buy lottery tickets and smokes. Those are the days of old. They're going there to eat prepared foods. They're going there to eat healthy food, things like bananas. Convenience stores actually sell more bananas than grocery stores. True. Convenience stores lag national grocery only by 2 percentage points. And they're getting better. And they're starting to take on QSR. It's a little bit of a fuzzy market because sometimes you'll go into a gas or C-store and it will actually have a QSR in it, a Pizza Hut, a Dunkin' Donuts, or something like that. But you'll also see that they're preparing their own foods. And they're taking on that same QSR segment. We like to say that, you know, in that world, a consumer wants to have the perfect pit stop. They want to go to one place. You're on a road trip, you want to stop, you want to fuel up, you want to get some food, you want a clean bathroom. And you want it fast. I'll talk about a little bit more about that in a second. But we all know, everyone in this room, that a consumer can impact your business in 140 characters, radically. We first witnessed this really with TripAdvisor. I was down in Costa Rica last year, and we went into the surf shop to get the surfboard. And on the counter, there was, please rate us on TripAdvisor. And I came back to the surf shop after a week with the surfboards and stuff like that. And they tried to charge me for a ding in the surfboard. And I didn't ding it. My kids didn't ding it. And I said the ding was there. And he said, no, you've got to pay us, $30 or whatever for the ding in your surfboard. And I said, I'm going to ding you on TripAdvisor. He said, give me the surfboard. And that was it. Because they were so afraid that if I posted a negative review on TripAdvisor, that it would impact their business to the point where they couldn't recover. And that's sort of reticent of the trend that we're seeing, I think, where it used to be high intent, high valued purchases that you would really research and then review and write about. Travel, cars, things that cost a lot of money, take a lot of time. I just bought a car. What a nightmare. I mean, you just always think that you're going to get fooled, and you got to research and research, and then do some more research, and then haggle and haggle and haggle, and then do a little bit more haggling. But that's changed. Now people talk about everything, down to high-frequency, low-intent purchases. Where are you going to fuel up? That's a high-frequency, low purchase, and every day we get 3 million people on GasBuddy that are reviewing their experience at a gas station. And what that tells me is that if you're a retailer, you don't own your brand anymore. You used to, and many still think that they do. But your consumer owns your brand. You own the experience. And that experience informs the consumer to help you create that brand. So your ability to speak with your constituency and your audience is more important than ever. This is not a message, by the way, that many retailers like to hear. I remember many, many years ago, I was trying to sell Anheuser-Busch some advertising. This was the early days of the internet. And Augie Busch, we went out to St. Louis, met with Augie Busch. It was a pretty cool meeting. And he took the meeting. I think I was at ZDNet at the time. We were talking about the trend of digital and how he had to be in front of his audience. And he listened for quite some time, and he said, Walt, you seem like a nice young man. Let me tell you about how we do it here at Budweiser. See that picture of that Clydesdale there? We got 100 Clydesdales, barns all across the country. They're beautiful animals. And every year, we put them on television, and we make these commercials, And people love those Clydesdales. And that's Budweiser. This internet thing you got going is pretty neat. And I appreciate your time, but I'm not buying any advertising. Well, I think about that meeting because I think it was probably 4 years later when YouTube really started to kick in. And I saw those very same Clydesdales doing some things that I can't mention in this room on this microphone, including snowball fights and everything else. And I thought, you know, Augie, you might own the Clydesdales, but you don't own your brand. The consumers own the brand. And so if you're a retailer, particularly in fuel, we all remember this. This is what it used to look like. Pretty bad. The hubcap with the key, you go into the bathroom, you think something's going to crawl out of the toilet and bite you. Your feet are all sticky on the floor. It's pretty bad. And it's moved from that to this. They've invested $9 billion into their in-store experience. Healthy foods, open floor formats, inviting exteriors, well-lit lighting, the forecourt it's called. And the traffic from the forecourt into the store is really where most of these retailers make their money. Interestingly, fuel retailers make a lot of money when fuel prices are low. And if you go on GasBuddy, you'll see the local spread of gas, which I believe was 90 cents this morning right here, meaning that the price of regular fuel within a half-mile radius will have a 90-cent spread. Now, if you have a 20-gallon tank, that's close to 20 bucks. Savings is savings. So they make a little bit of money on fuel when prices are low, but as prices get high, they don't make that much money. The margin's in the store. So they had to improve the store. And they had to respond to consumer behavior. And that's caused some crazy things. You know, we get around over 500,000 organic downloads monthly at GasBuddy. And that was one of the wonderful things. When I came into the company, I just couldn't understand it. I was like, wow, you don't pay for downloads? Like, there's no consumer acquisition plan? Like, no, we don't have any of that. I'm like, well, how do you get these downloads? And part of it was just being an incumbent and unique value proposition in the market. But part of it was also getting in the news. You'll see that we're in the news a lot. We just hired this analyst who did this crazy thing. He's a kid about 27 years old, and he was on the road a lot. He was a salesman, and he didn't make much money, and he found himself having to eat wherever he could, and he gained a lot of weight. He gained about 30 pounds. So he went on a health kick. And while doing it, he said, I'm only going to eat at gas and convenience stores. And he lost 30 pounds. And he was in the news everywhere. So we hired him. He was in Men's Health and People Magazine, everywhere. Who is crazy enough to eat at C-stores every day for 30 days? Frank Beard was. We're going to have him do it again in August. So if you want to join the trend, we might even do a national trend to see who can just do it for a weekend. Because believe it or not, it's a lot easier now than it used to be. I couldn't do it for 30 days. I might be able to do it for a weekend. And it's one of those things where in this industry, everybody does it. We did a recent survey of the best gas stations, and we published it. And in Pennsylvania, there are a couple competitors. There's Sheetz and Wawa. They're both family-owned and about the same size, and they're both great. But Sheetz beat out Wawa, and we published it, and we were very surprised to see that Kellyanne Conway even tweeted about it. It was pretty funny. So yes, that actually happened. That's not fake news. That's real. And we sent that over to Wawa and Sheetz, and I think we made their day. But all of that has resulted back into this. You know, people talk about this. It's so written about. It's like, oh my God, Amazon's opening up a store. Holy shit. You know, Walmart is opening up a small store format. What are they doing? Well, they're responding to consumer trends. And again, what's old is new. This is nothing new. This is the same old thing we've seen. And if this looks familiar, if I could click back, it should. Because it looks exactly like the gas and convenience stores, the contemporary gas and convenience stores of today, with a little bit of a different angle here. Clearly, in their model, either owning the big box format, very expensive, or Amazon, that last mile delivery, very expensive. And for the most part, many of the items that a consumer seeks, they're trying to do it because they need it immediately, and they want to save time and they want to save money. And everybody does it. Yes, Brittany, George, Holly, Ryan, everybody, you, me, everybody goes to the gas and convenience store. Did I say it's a big market? It's a huge market. 40 million tanks are filled on a daily basis. 160 million C-store visits on a daily basis. When you think about touching and consumer engagement, this is the highest frequency location in the industry, bar none. A little bit more about that location thing, and a little bit more about e-commerce and what's happening. You know, I've been playing this location game for a long time. We all have. It's fun. It's addictive. You kind of get into it, and the new technologies are really amazing. But at the end of the day, what you're trying to address is the simplicity of purchase, right, while also addressing the long-tail opportunity. How can I get the broadest level of supply down to a personalized basis with an individual consumer as quickly as possible? This is where it breaks down. Because if you're Amazon, or put yourselves in the shoes of a consumer, if you're a consumer and you want the 60-inch plasma screen, but you don't want to drive to Best Buy because that's 20 miles away, and it's going to take 2 to 3 hours of your time. But you've read the reviews, you know the price is okay on Amazon, and you just want to purchase it. Can you wait a day? Sure. I'll wait a day if I can save 3 hours of my time, and I'll have that delivered to that local Amazon store that's just like my convenience store. That's where I believe Amazon is really trying to take advantage of the small store format. What else happens? Lunchtime is prime time, baby. Most consumers shop within 1 to 5 miles of their place of work or their residence. That's where they want to shop. In fact, they want to shop on their way to one or the other because that's the most convenient. And this in and of itself is a huge threat to grocery and QSR. Time is money. Again, nothing new here. This is a little bit about dwell time, and again, I'm certain that Antonio later will talk a lot about this. Dwell time at location and what you can learn about dwell time. Remember the part where I was saying like these retailers, they make their money when somebody goes from the canopy into the store? When you see a dwell time at a fuel station of 5 to 10 minutes, that means they went into the store and they purchased something. Wow, the acoustics are really kind of strange in here. If I hold this really close, it's a little better. If somebody's at that location for 10 to 15 minutes, that means they're actually eating lunch or dinner or breakfast there. And they're hanging out, maybe seeing some friends, reading the newspaper, on the Wi-Fi. I talked a little bit about this. Today at GasBuddy, we have a little announcement with a partner of ours called WEX. WEX is in the fleet fuel payments business. They're a mid-cap public company up in Portland, Maine. They're a neighbor of ours. We're in Boston. And we're announcing a partnership where we hope to revolutionize the payment capability in the fuel space. We're beginning, can't talk about everything. I think the release goes out later today. But if you look at the team we've assembled at GasBuddy, and you look at some of the things that we've done in the past, you'll see that we've got some ambitions beyond consumer, our SaaS platform, and moving into payments. I hope it'll be very exciting for all of you and all of us, again, on the theme of saving time and money, so that you don't have to get out of your car, go in to save money to pay with cash versus a credit card, and that same retailer isn't hit up with massive interchange fees, which, by the way, are the third highest cost of business after payroll, healthcare, interchange. We want to help both consumers and retailers with a new payment scheme, which we're bringing into the market with our partner WEX, and looking forward to telling you guys a little bit more about that. So, in conclusion, folks, what's old is new. Save you time, save you money. These are the simple value propositions. Give you your life back. And I appreciate everyone at this bright and early hour of the morning listening to a little bit about gas and convenience. Again, not what you probably thought you were going to hear, but I hope that together we can make gas sexy. Thank you.